That one right there made me the greatest of all time. Teams win championships. It's never just about me and Luca. Not one, not two, not three, not four, not five, not six, not seven. And I'm serious when I say this. I mean it. This is the words of someone who now says we are infatuated with ring culture. That, in his words, it's like saying Peyton Manning can't be in the same room with Brady or Mahomes because he only has one ring. They never discussed that in their sport. These are the words of LeBron James. We are in a society now where everything is subjective. There's no right way anymore. Everything is up for dissection, debate, so to speak. This is getting tiring, honestly, because I've never seen someone so hell bent on wanting to fool you into believing that he is the greatest player of all time and has so many people in the media that are trying to do it. I'm going to play a few videos today, all courtesy of ESPN, First Take. I think there's maybe one coming from a few shows on Fox and Fair Use. And I just, listen, this is just, I don't even know what to say at this point because it's becoming so tiresome to witness someone make excuse after excuse after excuse. And his fans are the fans of hypotheticals. They are the fans of excuses. Why my guy didn't win and why my guy constantly comes up short, even though he has had a team that looked like this. This is not held against LeBron. This team finished 10th in the Western Conference. And what you're looking at is a picture of the Avengers. Dwight Howard, who was still a good center and a great contributor to that Lakers team. Anthony Davis in the prime of his career. A still in his prime Russell Westbrook. He was not washed. Every time a player plays with LeBron, he supposedly makes everybody better. But when they don't win, these guys are washed. This is what they say. Russell Westbrook was just off of averaging another triple-double in Washington when he was traded to the Lakers. That LeBron wanted him. The only guy that was probably at the end of his career who could still give you, I believe right now, 10 or 12 off the bench was Carmelo Anthony, a literal walking bucket. Carmelo Anthony, a bull. Want to be more in New York's finest. A absolute bull that could give you a bucket right now. And you have Rondo, one of the smartest players that have ever played the game of basketball. That team finished 10th. And I've heard excuses, well, LeBron missed a certain amount of games. The games that LeBron played, they were still under 500. That's a guy who had that help, and you are still considering him as the GOAT. This whole thing that LeBron is trying to say, that rings don't mean a thing, maybe, is all about changing the narrative. And most of you that are blind witnesses, they say blind witnesses for a reason, you can't see what he's really trying to do. Some of us can. And we see through it. So he's not being sincere when he's talking about ring culture, because if he had 6 or 7 or 8, he wouldn't be talking about it. So I'm gonna play a few videos today, and at first I'm gonna start off with this most ridiculous statement. I'll see if I can find it. Let's see. Let's see. First of all, let's see who we're gonna go to. We got a few lined up. So you know who I think really do it. There's a couple of people I thought really did a great job. Ryan Clark was brilliant. But I want to play first. Let's play this one. Let's see what comes up.
For so many reasons.
I was super, super ecstatic to win one for Cleveland because of the 52-year drought. Like, I was ecstatic. Like, obviously, the first wave of emotion was y'all saw me crying. Like, that was all for 52 years. Everything in sports going on in Cleveland. I was like, that one right there made you the greatest player of all time. No, everybody was just talking how they were the greatest team of all time. You did something special. That's like one of the only times in my career I felt like.
So again, LeBron says that one made him the greatest player of all time because they were supposedly the greatest team. And then you hear Rich Paul saying for so many reasons that supposedly made LeBron the greatest player of all time. I am trying to understand something, and his legion can never seem to point this part out of the hypocrisy of the whole thing. Ask, how did that one make you the greatest player of all time when they weren't the greatest team ever seen? How is Steph Curry, who was what, the sixth, seventh pick in the draft, Klay Thompson, just outside of the lottery, somehow that made him the greatest player of all time? This bogs the mind that he could sit there and be so unaware. You won a championship coming back. Let's examine that championship a little bit before. Steph Curry, sixth, seventh pick in the draft, turns out to be the greatest shooter in the history of basketball. Klay Thompson, one of the best shooting guards in the history of basketball. 13th, 12th, 14th pick in the draft, somewhere down that range. I think in that range, out of Washington State. Draymond Green was a second-round pick out of Michigan State. That's your Andre Iguodala off the bench. You had a few other guys. Andrew Bogut. This is not a dominant. I didn't understand at the time, and I was rooting for Golden State, why they won. I don't know how they won 73 games. I still don't understand how they won 73 games. But is one of those guys on that team in the GOAT conversation? Truly? Is Steph Curry in the GOAT conversation of greatest of all time players right now, in most people's opinion? Yes or no? The answer is no, by most. I think he's one of the greatest players. So we had on the other side a team that underachieved in the regular season, the Cleveland Cavaliers, led by the guy, the self-proclaimed GOAT, who was the number one overall pick in the NBA, a 6'9" locomotive, freak of nature, and was rookie of the year, multiple MVP. He's on the other side. With him is the other number one overall pick, Kyrie Irving, rookie of the year, MVP of the All-Star game, one of the most skilled players, top 5 skilled players, handles in the history of the NBA. And another top 10 pick in Kevin Love. What is this great mismatch? He had his own super team. And I want to remind y'all, just in case you don't remember, it was Kyrie Irving who hit the big shot. LeBron had 1 point in the last 4 minutes. But that one right there made him the greatest player of all time. Nonsense. This is the issue that we have. Let's play another video. I want to hear another perspective. And I really think, and I want to see if is it Ryan? Let me listen. I want you guys to hear what Ryan Clark had to say, because I thought this was great. Well, actually, no, not Ryan. I don't want to play. Yeah, let's play Ryan.
LeBron James doesn't have a problem with ring culture. He has a problem with more rings culture, because LeBron has curated his career around ring culture. Because if he didn't, LeBron James never goes to South Beach. He went to South Beach because he understood that as individually dominant as he was nothing without those rings. And what's funny also too about LeBron is the fact that he's talking about the accumulation of something when that's the exact argument that all of his fans, all of the people that say he is the greatest, use. His accumulation of points over a certain amount of time, accumulation of assists, accumulation of rebounds. The reason he's pointing out the more rings culture is because he hasn't accumulated more rings than the person that he's chasing. And so if I can get out and debunk the fact that it's about how many rings you get as long as you have one, or if I can get out and debunk the fact that we're not having a conversation about how much you elevated your team in the most important moment, just about how good you were, right? Because when you bring up Barry Bonds, it's like, let's not think about whether or not he won a championship. Let's say he was the greatest ever, which all baseball players agree to, right? Like he brought up Dan Marino. Yeah, we know Dan Marino could spin it, but Dan Marino never lifted his team to a championship. So we speak about him differently than we talk about Tom Brady. And let's not forget that part of greatness is showing up in the most important moments. The most important moments are playoffs and championships. And that is the reason that you get to be, whether it's in the top 5 or a top 3 or a top 2, or you get to be the GOAT, is because in the most important moment, as individually great as you were that great or better when it counted most. And so LeBron James is extremely intelligent. He knows that if now he comes out and says, hey, it's not about how many rings you accumulate, it's about how you played individually. Now, all of his fans, his people that say he's the GOAT can point to those numbers, as long as you don't point to the amount of rings that somebody won, because that's the conversation or argument that he can't win. And I think for him, right, it's hypocritical, because you shaped your career early on around winning championships because you knew championships could make you the GOAT. You even said, when I came back 3-1 against the Warriors, that made me the GOAT because I won that championship. Now, all of a sudden, because maybe there's a fear you won't win another one, championships or amount of championships don't matter.
Hold up.
So, I mean, absolutely brilliant articulation of the facts. So let's get into a little bit. I'm going to play a couple of commercials and I'm going to come back and dig in. This one, y'all, is one I've just been salivating to do. We'll be right back after this quick commercial break.
Today we're comparing blue pills, the name brand, with our generic little blue pill.
Okay, so what's the difference?
The name brand pills have the brand name from a large pharmaceutical company engraved on each pill.
What does that do?
It makes them cost a lot more. Both pills have the same active ingredient, which allows you to be, well, more active.
Don't pay more for the name, pay less for the pill. Get our generic blue pill for as little as $2 each. Call right now for yours.
Struggling to find a retirement savings plan that works as hard as you do? The Super Roth is the answer. A permanent index universal life insurance that not only supplements retirement savings, but goes beyond traditional options. Say goodbye to contribution limits and dreaded 5-year rules. Imagine a plan where funds are liquid and tax-free at retirement. Total flexibility at all stages of life. With the Super Roth, experience the power of compound interest, ensuring steady growth minus the penalties. Smart, simple, secure. It's the ultimate tool for tax-deferred retirement planning. Discover a richer retirement future with the Super Roth today.
TheSuperRaw.com. TheSuperRaw.com. Learn about it today. How we can save money in taxes. We've got a tremendous deficit, and really think we're going to take that money. Future taxes, when the rates go up, we're going to be looking at your qualified account for 401k, your IRA, not your Roth, your traditional IRA. So go to thesuperroth.com. Check it out. So we're back. And what Ryan was articulating was, and if I didn't play the video, I'm going to play it now. And this was about what LeBron was saying. Oh, God. As he tries to once again change the narratives. This is what this is all about. Let me see if this is the right one. Let's think. Let's see if this is it. No, that's not it. As you continue to watch LeBron, let's just see if this is it. Just constantly try his hardest. This was him when he was winning.
To win championships. Not one championship.
Not two.
LeBron, tell us about that.
Not two, not three, not four, not five, not six, not seven. Hey, and when I say that, I really believe.
So there you go with LeBron once again. See, the one thing, the beautiful part about life is that things that have been recorded, we have the ability to go back and replay it, right? We have this ability because things are now etched in memory and in history that we can go back and record the things that you say. And we can listen to those things, and we can listen to you contradict yourself and say things. And of course, when you're a fan of someone, you'll find every excuse to defend them. So here's what all this was about in this video.
No. I don't know why it's discussed so much in our sport and why it's the A-all, B-all of everything. You sit here and you tell me, you know, Allen Iverson and Charles Barkley and Steve Nash, our fucking wasn't unbelievable. Like, oh, they can't be talked about or discussed with these guys because this guy won one ring or won two rings or one, like, it's just weird to me. It's like saying Peyton Manning can't be in the same room with Brady or Mahomes because he only has one ring. Never discussed that in a sport.
Right.
Or telling me that Dan Marino is not the greatest slinger of all time. Or he can't be in the room with those guys because he didn't win a championship. They don't discuss those things, I don't know. I don't know. Did Barry Bonds win a World Series? I don't think so. I don't think so. Barry Bonds never won a World Series. So. You can't see.
First of all, let me just explain something to the young folks out here. It is not A-all, B-all. It's the end all, B-all, end all, B-all of it all, is what he's basically trying to say. It's the end of it all, or the end to it all, essentially, which is basically saying this is not everything that it should be. And here's the problem with that statement. When you play a sport, you play, in the words of Herman Edwards, you play to win the game. And what LeBron is doing in that setting with Steve Nash, who he should just be a mannequin in the room, because there's no pushback on anything LeBron ever says. So he is being very slick by bringing in up Charles Barkley, Allen Iverson, Steve Nash, by saying Dan Marino was one of the greatest slingers of the football. As Ryan Clark said, yes, he was great individual play at times, but here is the reason why there's a reason why there are people in the sport, and they do talk about it. Why do you think Tom Brady is the GOAT in the quarterback position. We talk about the greatest running backs also. We talk about the greatest wide receivers also, LeBron. We talk about all these things in the sport all the time. We talk about it. We talk about it. So why are we talking as if there are no greats of greats in any sport? Is Jerry Rice not considered the greatest wide receiver? It's because not only does he have the numbers, he has the moments. Do we not talk about Emmitt Smith or Barry Sanders or Jim Brown or Walter Payton, who are universally the top 4 guys that we talk about as the greatest running backs? Emmitt Smith is not universally considered the GOAT at the running back position. I wonder why. Even though he is the all-time rushing leader in the history of the NFL. But universally, the best running back is considered either Jim Brown or Barry Sanders, because they're not caring about the longevity of it. They looked at the impact of what you did during the time and during the games that mattered. LeBron wants you to just look at the numbers and just say, oh, look, I'm the top scorer, even though I don't have the rings. Well, why don't we look at John Stockton as the greatest point guard? He has way more assists than Magic Johnson. He has way more steals than anybody. No one will catch John Stockton's an assist. But he is never talked about as the greatest point guard. You want to know why? Because it don't mean a thing if it don't cap that ring. Dirk Nowitzki is elevated above Charles Barkley and Karl Malone in many circles because he has that ring. And he was the, and let's stop being disingenuous and stop acting like team sports. Within team sports, let me just say this, because this is something else that drives me crazy. Within team sports, like basketball in particular, it is much easier for that individual player to be able to make an impact on that game and mean the difference between winning and losing than it is for baseball when he brings up Barry Bonds. Barry Bonds can hit 3 home runs in a game. Well, guess what the pitcher can do? Not pitch to him. So you can literally take his bat off his shoulders. And so then you have to have these other players, pitchers and everything he's so reliant upon. In basketball, if I have a Kobe Bryant and the game gets close and we need somebody to score, I'm not looking at the guy off the bench to make big shots after big shots. I want the guy to bring me home. I need Michael Jordan hitting game-winning shots in the finals, hitting the game-winning steal and the game-winning shot to win the championship. Something LeBron has none of that in the finals. He has 0 game-winning shots. None. Kyrie has it, essentially. But Ray Allen saved a series, but LeBron does not have those moments in the finals where he took over down the stretch for them to go ahead and win a championship, or he made the bucket, the basket during the end of the game. He has a block that's set up. There were several plays that happened after that, and Kyrie Irving came down and hit the 3 on an injured Steph Curry. Nobody ever talks about that. Nobody ever talks about Andrew Bogut went out after game 4. Draymond Green was suspended for game 5 or game 6. I think he was suspended in game 5 and came back in game 6. That affected the momentum of the series. But now with no Andrew Bogut, the lane was wide open for LeBron to go in and score. But do we know that Kyrie Irving also had 41 several times in that series? But that made him the greatest player of all time. But now teams win championships because he knows that once again he fails with Luka Doncic, a top 5 NBA player. The Lakers, what did Shannon Sharp say? Lakers in 5. Popeyes, McDonald's fries, Lakers in 5. They were the favorites. And once again, he comes up shorter than Kevin Hart. They lose again. They're in no sport. So we go back to Barry Bonds. He can't have the same impact on a team sport. Basketball is the one sport where a player can take over and have that kind of impact. And that's where we separate the greats and the greatest. No one says, oh, Charles Barkley wasn't a great player, unless you're just young and don't know. No one says Allen Iverson is not one of the all-time great players. No one says this. LeBron knows by trying to shift the narrative that teams win championships in one way, he says, but then that one right there made me the greatest player. And always he changed his mind is what people will say. Stop it. No, he didn't. He changed because he knows that it doesn't fit his narrative. And he got roasted. Let's play a couple other videos I want to share with you guys. I'm gonna take another quick commercial break, but I want to show you what some of the people have had to say about this nonsense. Check this out. Let's look at this. Here's Skip Bayless, talking about LeBron scoffs at ring culture, saying rings are merely a team achievement and shouldn't be weighed so heavily in the mind of an individual career assessment, and tries to unmask MJ's GOAT case, discounting his 6-0 in the finals versus LeBron's 4-6. It's a nice try. First of all, when people say MJ is 6-0, I don't think people understand how hard it is to actually win a championship. And when you tell me that Bill Russell won 11 or Robert Horry won 7, I know that you were in a special class growing up. I know, because you can't use any sort of logic or context. Robert Horry did not drive the bus. He was not the guy. He was a guy that made a shot here and there. He also played with Shaq and Kobe. He played with Hakeem. He played with Tim Duncan. These are 4 of the greatest 10 players that ever played the game. 10 to 12 players that played the game. He was a part of a special team. So yes, in his case, teams win championships. But when you are Tim Duncan, when you are Michael Jordan, when you are LeBron James, when you are Kobe Bryant, when you are Shaquille O'Neal, when you are Larry Bird, when you are Magic Johnson, when you are Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, when you are Steph Curry, when you are Wilt Chamberlain, there's a special place for those guys because they elevated their team to win it all. In the magic moments, you have to elevate your team. LeBron is a great 3-quarter player. Fantastic. Even early on in the first 5 or 6 minutes of the quarter, he's really good. But in the last 4 to 5, he's not. He's like 1 for 17. He was awful. In the fourth quarter, he has no, if I show his percentages, I'm not going to bring him out today. He's never been great in the remaining minute, 20-something seconds. He's not good in those moments because he's always looking for that other guy who has the individual handles, who has the skill set beyond just trying to bull his way to the rim or take maybe a fadeaway shot that he hopes to go in. And he's still a top 10 great player. No doubt about it. Top 5, wherever you want to put him, except 1 or 2, in my opinion. And so, but this trying to rewrite history and change winning and those moments, why do you think LeBron gets $50 million? Why do you think they pay the top guys more money than they pay the other guys? Because they expect you to carry him. He knows this. So you can see some of the comments that people have stated. I want to play you another video. I think this is from a guy who shocked me because he's a guy that is usually a LeBron fan who tends to be on his side. Well, let me show you what he had to say. I think this is Colin Cowherd, if I'm not mistaken. Let's try it again. Let's see. Try the screen. Let's see who we got. Let me see who this is. Let's just try another video and see who comes up. No, I don't want that one. That's the same video of LeBron. So let me try another one. Let me see what else comes up. These things are not always labeled. So it's just amazing to me when you hear it. You know who I didn't want to hear? Let me see if I can find the no, that's not it. I was looking for the Stephen A. Smith debate conversation about it. And one of the things I did hear in one of the meetings, I remember hearing something with it was on First Take, I believe. Oh, here's Colin Cowherd talking about LeBron James and he's not being authentic. He's not being truthful. Let's put it that way. When he discusses, I'm saying LeBron is not being truthful when he's telling you about this ring culture being weird. Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Kareem, all of these people will tell you how important it is winning a championship. And LeBron knows how important it is winning the championship. He knows how important it is. And why
nobody says Charles Barkley's not amazing. Nobody says Allen Iverson's not amazing. Nobody says Dan Marino's not amazing. But Barkley is an MJ and Marino's not Brady, even though he was more talented. And the reason is the trophies. And LeBron knows that. LeBron has no chance to win a trophy with the current Laker roster. So now they don't matter. He spent his entire career pursuing titles. You think he went to Miami to lay on the beach? He went there for Riley and Spoelstra and a better owner and a better roster. He didn't go west. He stayed in the weak East to keep getting to finals. LeBron pursued finals and Michael 6 for 6 for years. He's talked about idolizing Michael. What's the stat? What stat do we talk about with Michael? If I said to you, how many total points did Michael score? You don't know. How many division titles did Michael win? You don't know. How do you do in the finals? 6 for 6. That's his number, right? That's his number. And so, and he's been doing this for years, playing this angle. It's projecting, it's straw man argument. And I love LeBron. I really do. I like the people around LeBron. So back when he knew he had a chance to win several more, the ring mattered. Because he was still back then, hey, can he surpass Michael and get to 6, 7, 8? Now he can't. Now rings don't matter. Rings absolutely are the difference. Dan Marino was bigger, stronger, and more talented than Brady. Brady got the trophies. That's the difference. Favre was more athletically talented than Brady. Brady got the trophies. Aaron's probably more gifted. Josh Allen is. Brady's got the trophies. Nobody's saying that Marino or Josh Allen aren't talented. I think Josh Allen's the most talented football player in the world. But Mahomes has the trophies. And we can contextualize it why they matter. I'm not a huge Brock Purdy fan, but if he had 2 trophies, I'd have to acknowledge he's a different player. He's just better than I think. So it does matter. And Michael and LeBron knows it matters.
That was actually very well said by Colin Cowherd, and I tend to not always agree with him because he was a little too much of a LeBron supporter early and I don't know what happened. Maybe the checks didn't clear, but he stopped doing that. And so I noticed that he kind of started switching up and now has reclaimed and says that MJ is the GOAT. Maybe the checks didn't clear anymore. Who knows? But I just think that it's the people who can see what's going on. We can see what's going on. He's clearly trying to rewrite history. In no sport, we talk about Dan Marino. In no sport, the reason why Tom Brady is considered the GOAT is because of the championships. Tom Brady was only first team All-Pro 3 times, I believe. So there was always another quarterback throughout the season that was better than him. That was considered better. But he is the GOAT because of the rings. And can we stop trying to minimize 6 for 6? This is the most ridiculous thing in the world because what you're trying to do is say his competition was not such and such. when Michael Jordan beat more 50-win teams, more 60-win teams than LeBron ever beat in the playoffs. So you can't say, oh, they weren't that good. Nonsense. Michael Jordan played against the top scorers in NBA history. If you look at the list, except LeBron, the top rebounders in history, the top assist guys in history, the top shot blockers in history, but somehow he still won. I know this is hard for you LeBron James fans to imagine, especially y'all that was born in 2000 plus. Michael Jordan was a phenomenon. What he did was that great. What your guys doing ain't so, because he finds ways to lose. Let me play you a couple more videos before I start getting up out of here. Let me see if I can find the one with Rob Parker, because he literally obliterates LeBron in his discussion. And I may or may not find it. It may not matter. But you know what? Let me play Charles Barkley, because Charles Barkley, one of the reasons why I love Barkley.
I'm in the Hall of Fame, but I'm in a different wing than the guys who won the championship. I mean,
still in the Hall of Fame, though.
I know, yeah, but I'm saying, though, Jack, hey, I understand. I understand the rules. Like, Charles are great. Karl Malone's great. Patrick Ewing's great. They're not at the table with Magic, Bird, LeBron, Kobe. It's levels to this shit. And I ain't mad at that. I understand that. Now, if I could have won a championship, I can go across the room. But the rules are the rules. We have to play by the rules. And this ain't got nothing with motherfuckers on TV who get paid to talk shit. We talking about players.
Right.
We talking about players. We understand, like, yeah, hey, I'm not at the table with Bird and Magic and those guys. Hey, yeah, am I a great player? Yes, I am. I understand that. But there are, like...
What Barkley said in part is vanity, but Barkley acknowledges the elephant in the room. LeBron doesn't want to. He doesn't want to, because he is trying to move. He don't care about Barkley. He doesn't care about Nash, even though he's sitting right there. He doesn't care. He does not care. It's more about him trying to create that narrative that he can change up opinions about titles and just look at my stats. He's always cared about stats. When Ty Lue was coaching him in Game 7 of the finals, at halftime, LeBron is saying, but look at my stats. That tells me everything I need to know. Everything. But Ty Lue says, I don't give a damn about your stats. I need impact. That's what you guys are not understanding. Impact. Play a quick commercial. This is one of those shows that's going to be
more than ever, all U.S. veterans need your help. If you have an old car, truck, or van, you can donate it today and help them. And they'll come pick it up for free. Plus, the money raised helps our nation's disabled veterans and their families. Call the number on your screen right now. Within a few days, we'll come and tow it away for free, running or not. And the proceeds greatly help U.S. veterans. So please call right now.
Are you having trouble hearing your TV or listening to conversations in loud spaces? Then it might be time to consider Nano hearing aids. The days of expensive hearing aids are over. Nanos are FDA-registered OTC hearing aids. They are powerful, lightweight, and simple to use, and their tiny in-ear design makes them nearly invisible. Plus, they are rechargeable, saving you hundreds of dollars on batteries. Don't be fooled by overpriced hearing aids. Prescription hearing aids could cost $3,000 or more. Nano hearing aids are only $397. But wait, we are so confident you are going to love your Nanos, we are offering $100 off through this special TV offer. Call now and get 2 CIC rechargeable hearing aids for only $297. You get a free portable charging case, free 24/7 lifetime telephone support, free shipping, and a 45-day money-back guarantee.
Call 855-993-2063. That's 855-993-2063.
So we're back. I want to play you guys this last video, and you heard what Charles Barkley had to say, and I want to find the video for Rob Parker. Once again, you know, he was livid, and a lot of us are aggravated, because of what we're seeing. Another guy who I thought does a really good job. I may not find Rob. I thought I saw Rob's video, but let me play you a hockey guy. This is PK Subban. Look at what he says.
Their athletes aren't seen enough. And this is why I don't put them ahead of Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant for me. It's the approach to the game. And to me, in some ways, it can be insulting to look at it as chips don't matter, or why is it that other athletes aren't seen as other athletes? But the whole point of pro sports and team sports is to win, and is to win a championship. And that's your dream when it starts out, is to win. We don't want to change that. Like, there's no changing that. So when people talk about Kobe being here, and if he was here, he would say this, because the epitome of winning a championship is going through the grind. People want to see the grind. People want to see the struggle. And for LeBron, I'll always be a fan of his because he's an amazing athlete, an amazing basketball player, and he's going to go down as one of the greats. But to be an all-time great, to be the greatest, there's a certain way. How you win matters to me. Michael Jordan paying his dues, putting his time, not going somewhere else trying to win matters to me. Kobe Bryant doing the same. Larry Bird doing the same. Magic doing the same. Because I'm sorry, what we see in today's sports, our kids, as soon as there's a struggle, as soon as they don't get that success right away, they want to jump and go. I'm calling my agent. I need to go here. I need to go there. If you're the face of an organization, that team invested in you. At 18, they could have drafted anybody on the planet. They're investing in you to help them bring a championship to the city, right? It's bigger than just you. It's bigger than that. And I think we need to get athletes to understand that winning is what pro sports is all about, and how you win is important. You want to go to other teams? It's going to change your legacy. Hopping around will change your legacy.
PK brilliantly said, and I think there's some things when people talk about, LeBron or the NBA and he'll be missed, and he'll be missed by some, he'll be missed by a few. I miss the old LeBron, the guy that was accountable, the guy that says, we lost because I wasn't there. I miss that guy. The guy that's been trying to go on a campaign to try to rewrite history and has Clutch Sports get on Pat McAfee shows and these other places, and there's no pushback when they're saying stuff. He has this mind the game where he can just say whatever he wants. Nobody is pushing back against what he's saying. That LeBron, I don't recognize that guy from the guy I was a fan of. The guy I was a fan of was a brilliant basketball player, an unbelievable passer is what he really was. An unbelievable passer of the basketball and an unbelievable driver to the basketball. He was a basketball savant mentally. I think Rondo, Kobe Bryant are probably smarter, believe it or not. These are some brilliant guys in the game of basketball. But LeBron never worked on his mid-range game. He never worked on really having a post game. So when people say he don't have handle, he has handle. Of course he has. He has a bag, I should say. But he doesn't have a deep bag, a Kyrie bag, a Kobe Bryant bag, a Michael Jordan bag, a Penny Hardaway bag, a Tracy McGrady bag. He doesn't have that type Allen Iverson bag. He doesn't have that type of bag. So when we say he doesn't have a bag, he doesn't have a KD bag. He doesn't have a Devin Booker bag. He doesn't have an Anthony Edwards bag. He doesn't have an SGA bag. So there's so many guys. He doesn't have a Luka bag. He doesn't have a Nikola Jokic bag. So there's multiple guys. He didn't have Grant Hill's bag. And but he has the ability, because the NBA, when you started the illegal defense or the 3 seconds in the paint, you allowed people like LeBron, who didn't have that game, to be able to get to the paint. When you took away the power forwards, we don't have any power forwards anymore. Where are they? They're gone. Where are your dominant centers? They're gone. You have Joker, who doesn't really play defense, and an often injured Embiid. Some of the other guys are good players, that they just, like the guy from Segum from the Rockets, and some of these other guys from Chicago. There's a few guys that are out here that are pretty good centers, but they're not dominant centers that defensively were well respected and feared in some ways if you went into the paint. There are no more tumbles in the game anymore. Rudy Gobert is not Dikembe Mutombo. He's not Alonzo Mourning. He is not David Robinson. This is what we're talking about. My eyes can see that, but apparently a lot of these folks can't. So LeBron James, when he says certain things, first of all, Peyton Manning, by the way, has 2 rings, not 1. But Peyton Manning is not considered the GOAT because he didn't win enough when it mattered. He was a postseason problem. He was a regular season lion. But he didn't succeed when it mattered the most. And that's what we're looking at when we talk about the greatest of the greatest. So in football, we do talk about that. In basketball, we do talk about that because rings mean a thing, LeBron. They mean something. They always will, always has, no matter how you try to spin it, no matter where you want to do with it, they mean something. Let me see if I can find this last video. I'm getting ready to get out of here because it matters, guys. It matters. Let's hear from Rob Parker from Fox Sports. I forgot his show's name, but watch what Rob Parker says, and he literally ethers LeBron.
Once again, if he had enough rings to be considered the greatest, it would be okay. This is a typical LeBron. He doesn't feel like he's going to get there, and that's going to be held against him. So now he's going to downplay the ring. If it wasn't about that, LeBron, and if Steve Nash had any kind of
stop expecting him to
no, if he had anything, then I would have said, LeBron, why did you leave Cleveland and go to Miami? Chasing rings.
Cleveland!
You're the one who did it. You're the one who ran away. You're the one who put together a super team so that you could win rings. You were the one who were afraid not to win a championship. As great as you were as a player.
Not 2, not 3.
That's right.
Not 4,
now he's saying,
not
listen
5,
to this.
Not 6.
Is he talking
not
about
7.
being a great
And when I
player?
say that,
He's
I
talking
really
about
believe it.
winning rings because that's what he wanted to win. Such a phony. I'm so tired of hearing this. On one hand, he's talking about, I don't know why we're talking about rings or whatever. He's the one. Kelvin, that wasn't somebody imitating him. He's the one talking up about 7 rings. He's the one who left Cleveland, his hometown, and went to go chase rings in Miami. He's the one who keeps leaving, who came to L.A. to chase rings. Because he looked at Michael Jordan. And if you look at Michael Jordan's career and you think it's just about rings, you're mistaken. Michael Jordan was a great player, led the league in scoring 10 times. I could go over and over the all-time leading scorer in the postseason. It was more than just the 6 rings. This whole notion. But my point is, this is total garbage on LeBron's point. What on part? The only reason if LeBron had 8 or 10 rings, you think he would be talking about the number of rings people counting? Of course he would not. Such a phony. I'm so tired of hearing guys make an excuse when it doesn't fit their narrative. I'll sit here and tell you Charles Barkley was a great player. Steve Nash won 2 MVPs. No one's going to say he wasn't a great player in the NBA. But when you talk about the greatest of all time, I don't know of anybody who's the greatest of anything who didn't win at some point in their life. Dan Marino was a hell of a quarterback. I'm going to sit here and tell you he's the best quarterback ever, and he never won? Come on, man, nobody. How many times do I have to bring up Marv Levy? He went to 4 straight Super Bowls as a coach.
Not 3.
4. Not one time have I ever heard anybody say Marv Levy's the greatest coach in NFL history. You know why? Because he didn't win. That's why we keep score. That's why we hand out trophies. It does matter. Stop trying to say that winning doesn't matter. It does matter when you're talking about putting somebody ahead of everybody and saying they're the greatest that ever did something.
Ethered, flamed. They not like us. You're not like Michael Jordan, LeBron. It's not going to happen. I don't really think you're like Kareem or Kobe either. We could look at Wilt Chamberlain and say, look at his numbers. He had video game numbers. Did you ever average what Wilt Chamberlain averaged? Have you ever averaged 50? Have you averaged 25 rebounds? No. These are longevity stats that LeBron has. He's the all-time leading scorer. He's 4 for such an assist. And he's staying around and now entering his 23rd season because he knows his stats are the only thing that can even come close to the greatest of all time in Michael Jeffrey Jordan. Rob is right. People say, oh, Mike, 6 for 8, he's just 6 for 6. That's all you bring up. No, dummy. Michael Jordan led the league in scoring 10 times. He could have been 11 or 12. You want to know why he wasn't? Because he missed too many games to qualify in his second season. And then when he came back, that's why. He was also all defense 9 times. LeBron has never been all defense first team 9 times. He also had a triple-double. He had in 11 games, he had a triple-double each game when they asked him to play point guard. He was a defensive player of the year. He has the highest scoring average in the history of the finals, the highest scoring average in the history of the regular season. This is what we're talking about. He has the highest player efficiency rating of all time. It's a difference. But Bill Russell got 11 rings. Bill Russell was not the go-to player on his own team. Respectfully. They won 8 championships in a row. He won 11. They had no free agency. There were 8 to 10 teams in the league. They played 2 rounds. He had us bye into the Eastern Conference Final. And they played the West. He had to win 7-8 games to win the championship. There was no free agency. It is not the same. And you're being disingenuous if you say it is. There's a reason he was never the best player in the league. He was a great defensive player, but Bill Russell shot 44% from the field as a center. As a center. Wilt Chamberlain was statistically way more dominant, but he never gets ranked over over Bill Russell because the rings matter. The rings matter. And what you do in the biggest of moments, how you led your team matters. Michael Jordan still has the most buzzer beaters in NBA history, period. And LeBron is still chasing that. He has more in the playoffs where LeBron has 5. He had 3 basically in one season, by the way. Against the Raptors, against Atlanta. I think he had 1 against Chicago. That was all. So 3 of his 5 came in one season. So, and he was on a super team in Miami. So it wasn't, well, LeBron takes his teams to the finals. It's LeBron getting to the finals is all LeBron's credit. But when he loses, it's not his fault. It's the teams win the championships. So teams win championships, but that one right there may be the greatest of all time. But teams win championships. What? What are you talking about? In the East, you guys keep stretching this out. He went to 8 straight NBA finals with super teams, with the exception of the last year when Kyrie was gone and they beat the rookie and the second-year players for the Boston Celtics when they were young. And he went to the finals and got swept. The East, LeBron faced 2. I think it was either 1, matter of fact, all NBA player in all 8 of those years. He went up against 1 all NBA first team player, Derrick Rose. Look it up. The West had all the stars. So when he took his team to the finals and had to play against the West, what do you think happened? He gets beat more times than he wins because he was getting to the finals through an extremely weak East. He faced 1 all NBA player in the run through 8 finals. And guess who he had with him? An all NBA player. Dwayne Wade, all-star, Kyrie Irvings, and the Kevin Loves and the Chris Bosches, and a bench that was deep and loaded. But we want to talk about that one right there, maybe the greatest player of all time. Cappadocious. So I'm going to take it out of here, folks. It's just enough is enough. Oh, breaking news, though. I will add this before I go. So this is what just happened. Houston Rockets trade for Kevin Durant. In exchange, they traded away Jalen Green, I believe his name is. Young, athletic, super talented guy, but he's extremely inconsistent. They traded away Dylan Brooks, who, Dylan Brooks this is what, his third or fourth team now in 3-4 years. He's constantly getting traded. And they traded away the number 10 pick in this draft and 5 second-round picks for Kevin Durant, a top 20 player, probably top 15 in the NBA, and a top 15, 16 all-time great player who is still a walking bucket. This is the lineup that the Houston Rockets will have going into the season. Fred VanVleet, champion, very good, steady, smart point guard, can score. Amon Thompson, amen, boy. Boy can play some defense. KD, Jabari Smith, and a very promising up-and-coming center who is a real baller in Segun. This is the new Rockets, and they're going to be a problem if they can stay healthy. So, folks, I know I've said a lot today, and I'm just so tired of more and more excuses. And I'm in this with the same guy that he brought up in his podcast, Sir Charles Barkley, a former league MVP, Dream Team champion, one of the greatest power forwards and NBA players in the history of the world of basketball, top 30 guy in the history of the NBA. But he's not top 10 because he knows he didn't achieve at the highest level that he needed to. So this is what Barkley said. So all of a sudden, LeBron is diminishing the value of an NBA title. Why the hell did he leave Cleveland to join Wade and the Miami Heat? Wasn't that to chase titles? I can promise you that if he had more rings than losses, you wouldn't catch him saying that nonsense. That's Charles Barkley. This is your boy, Stephen Crawford, the retirement wealth coach, Coach Steve, signing off. I'll talk to you later.